How's it going, everybody? So with the release of Furiosa Mad Max Saga, I thought it would be great to do a actual ranking for the Mad Max franchise, because I've never done one before on the channel. Now, I have always adored the Mad Max franchise. It's one of those wild things that I got into at a young age because of my father. There's so many things to love about this weird post-apocalyptic world that George Miller created 45 years ago. Of course, this is just my personal ranking of the series. Make sure you share your rankings down below in the comment section. But without further ado, let's get into my last place pick. Coming in at last place, I have Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I'm sure for the most part this is going to be the usual pick that people have in last place for the franchise, and I do think it is the weakest entry by far, but I don't exactly hate everything about the movie either. Compared to most of the franchise, Beyond Thunderdome is a bit of a radical departure, changing gears away from many of the staples associated with Mad Max until the third act of the film. Some of the issues for Beyond Thunderdome definitely could be attributed to the fact that it's a PG-13 rating and not the usual R, and because of that, it can't be as edgy as we're used to. And not only that, but I just wasn't as invested in Max's journey overall in Beyond Thunderdome. There for sure are moments of intrigue with the Thunderdome itself being such a wild concept. Even upon many rewatches, I've never been a big fan of the stuff involving the kids. As much as I love Tina Turner, I think she is an icon. Even the songs that she does for the movie I thought were overall fine. I don't think she's a great element to Beyond Thunderdome. When they lean into more of the things that we're accustomed to as Mad Max fans in that third act, I had a lot more fun with Beyond Thunderdome. In particular, when it comes to the car chases and the third act train sequence, I thought was pretty amazing. It's just unfortunate that a lot of the stuff I do enjoy about Beyond Thunderdome isn't until the last third of the film. In fourth place, I have Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. Now, Furiosa was a phenomenal character that was introduced back in Fury Road, and I love that we have a whole entire film dedicated to showcasing her origin story in this gritty revenge tale. George Miller's signature style continues to excel in Furiosa, carving out a very different kind of story within the Wasteland. An arc that's much more intimate and emotional, but yet still delivering on the fast-paced, adrenaline-fueled action that makes these movies such exciting spectacles. For as much hesitation as I had going into the film that it's not going to be Charlize Theron playing Furiosa, I actually was won over by the end by Anya Taylor-Joy's performance. She does a really good job stepping into the role and carving out her own stamp on the character across this ferocious journey of revenge against Dementis. Kudos to Chris Hemsworth. This is a type of role that I've never seen him do before, and I think he plays this wacky, deranged antagonist perfectly. It isn't without faults, which is why I do have it a little bit lower, plus a lot of the entries that are after this are iconic. However, Furiosa Mad Max Saga further showcases that there are a lot of different stories to tell within this universe that aren't just sheerly focused on Mad Max. In third place, I have Mad Max. It's always fascinating to go back and rewatch the very first Mad Max film, as it's pretty cool to realize where this franchise started 45 years ago, with sort of humble beginnings for the post-apocalyptic genre. Even in the very first Mad Max, you can understand how this film became such a massive success. This post-apocalyptic world that George Miller created, populated by loads and loads of eccentric characters, is an extremely interesting experience. Not only that, but a very young Mel Gibson as Mad Max does a phenomenal job selling us on the character with this performance. I don't think it's his best performance as Max, as it will get much better in the sequel, but for sure lays a great foundation to build upon for this character. And you have the major selling point for these movies, and that is the over-the-top, insane, death-defying stunts that are on display. These car chases in Mad Max are astounding, especially for the time frame. In retrospect, the plot is a bit oddly structured. Even still, like I said, it's very easy to see why this ended up being a big franchise that's so beloved all these decades later. In second place, I have Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. As much as I love the original film, the sequel is where everything truly hits their stride, kicking things into high gear and just elevating everything pretty much. George Miller continues to refine the elements of the Mad Max universe, and the overall story, the journey we go on with Max in the sequel, is incredibly compelling. I really like the overall journey we go on with Max in the sequel, having him caught up in the middle of this war with some uniquely weird, memorable characters. As the film progresses, only ramping up the tension and the mayhem with these huge, elaborate action set pieces that are so incredible. Final 20 minutes or so of Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior with this chase sequence, that entire pursuit, the visceral thrills evoked from that. It's one of the coolest action sequences I've ever seen, and it blew my mind when I first watched it all those years ago. It's one of the main reasons I got so hooked on this franchise at an early age, is that action sequence right there. But at number one, I have Mad Max Fury Road. To be honest, it was tough between this and The Road Warrior, because I think out of all the entries in the franchise, those two are basically perfect. So I'm only giving a slight edge to Fury Road. With multiple decades in between Beyond Thunderdome and Mad Max Fury Road, this is the way that you reinvigorate a franchise franchise for modern audiences. The overall approach and execution, bringing this world back bigger and better, enhancing George Miller's signature style, further honing in on the weird, insane, fast-paced chaos, makes this movie a blast. It's not just one of my favorite action movies, I'd put this up there in the upper echelon as far as action movies overall. Because from the time that I watched this for the very first time in theaters all those years ago until rewatching it leading up to Furiosa, my mind still is blown at the stunts, the craft behind the vehicular mayhem, the stunt work involved is unlike anything that I've ever seen before. When you couple that with the story in Fury Road, which essentially boils down to an entire film that is a big chase sequence, it's incredibly riveting. Especially in hindsight, Tom Hardy taking over the role of Mad Max in Fury Road, I thought was a brilliant idea. He brings so much charisma and intensity to the role while being caught up in the middle of this redemption journey for Furiosa, played expertly by Charlize Theron. Though the two of them are essentially the two co-leads, Furiosa steals a lot of scenes herself, considering a good amount of the story does revolve around her journey. Not only that, but Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron bounce off each other very well, which is incredibly hilarious when you realize all the behind-the-scenes drama between the two of them. Even if there was a little bit of a happy ending involved because their stunt doubles ended up getting married to one another. If you didn't know that, fun fact. But yeah, as a big Mad Max fan, out of all of the films, Mad Max Fury Road, I think is George Miller's magnum opus. It's very easily one of the best action movies ever made. And there you have it. That is my ranking of all 5 films in the Mad Max franchise. It's been a blast talking some Mad Max with you guys on the channel. And like I said before, I would love to know your rankings down below. How would you rank every single film in the Mad Max franchise? Whether you've seen Furiosa or not, I'd love to know all your thoughts down below, because the fun of this is having that conversation with you guys in the comment section, so let's talk some Mad Max down there. Thank you guys, as always, for checking out the videos, though. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel so you update reviews, reactions, rankings, unboxings, and more. But the next time, I'll see you guys later.